All righty, Kaylee, how are you, Kaylee?
Doing good.
Awesome. Driving, busy, running kids or running to an appointment? One of the two.
Running appliances to our duplex flip.
Oh, nice. I've seen some of the posts of your flip online. You guys did a fantastic job.
Thank you.
Looks good. Okay, guys, we're at top of the hour, so let's kind of get rolling. Thanks for tuning in on Zoom, and we got some in the office here too. So we're gonna get started. Tyler Watson was here. I was just talking to him before we got started about a year ago. Right? It was the last time he was in here, came in as a sponsor, introduced himself. I'm sure the business has been growing since then. He's gonna give us a little bit more about his background. But he, I know he's a hustler because I asked him refresh my memory on how we met. You know, what's the connection there? Because it's usually one of you guys. It's usually an agent. Hey, you got to talk to my guy. You know, he's really good. Or it's somebody that I've used. But he's just out there hustling and making connections and reached out to Lynn, connected. I'm not sure where did you see her? Did you just come into the office? How do you remember?
I just called her. I was literally call.
Just called her. Yeah, just calling, making connections. He said just doing some networking, putting himself out there, growing his business. So I admire that. That's awesome. That is what we all kind of have to be doing, right? Not just the people we haven't met, that should be expanding our network, but we need to be making those calls to our network. We were talking about that a little bit before we started, how that's the most important thing. I was kind of using you as an example. I'm pointing to Lynn for you guys that are on Zoom, because she was on a panel yesterday and everybody was going into this great detail about their listing presentations and how they set up appointments and, you know, their marketing material. I'm super proud of it. And then they get to Lynn and she's like, I just be nice to people. You know, she sends thank you cards. She reaches out and calls people. And the kind of the takeaway that everybody landed on is she says, I never make it about real estate. I just call and ask them how they're doing. So if you're calling and making it about business and you're not checking in on them, and she kind of referenced back when I got my license in 2009, everybody's going through shit in 2009. And so that was the connection. What can I do to help you? You know, are you okay? Are your family okay? We're here to help you, right? And so Lynn got her license a little bit after that, but kind of watching that, she's like, well, that's what you do. That's how you build relationships and that's how you build business. So that was really kind of cool.
Just one sec, you know, he pulls me in and I want to say hi to Victoria also, because I've never met her before and I didn't get to see her in the ESP con. So hi, Victoria. Hi, Kitty, and Robert and Eric, of course. Anyway, what I wanted to touch on is that we're going into a time where people might really be struggling. So just realize that reaching out and letting someone know that you're here and that you're their agent, or whether it be anything real estate, it could be even if they need contractors or they need help with their mortgage, or just let them know you're the go-to and they can talk to you about things. Because I just think it's going to get a little bit worse for people right now. And I think some people are we're going to have more seller finance. We're going to have more opportunities for people to, that you can help because you're the expert. Don't let them lose their home. That's the key. There's a lot of people that put off payments during the COVID time. And they don't want people to know kind of what they've gone through. But if they know that you're someone that they can talk to, that can help them, you just want to be that person they reach out to and not be embarrassed of their situation.
Yeah, this is the kind of uncertain times for some people. Nobody knows what to expect, what's coming next. You know, when is this inflation going to end? When are the interest rate hikes going to end? All of that kind of stuff they just don't really know. And so the reach out doesn't necessarily have to be about, hey, you might be going through some stuff. I'm here to help you or whatever, because we're all going through stuff, but they know other people. So in just saying, if you know anybody that just needs some advice, somebody to talk to, we're connectors, right? Mm-hmm. I spend a lot of time just hooking people up. And I get credit for that because I don't know what these two people know, but they belong together and I make those connections and I'm being the connector. It puts me in both their circles, if that makes sense. So offer connections, offer help in that way, like reach out to me if you need help in basically any area, because in real estate, that's what we should be focusing on.
Well, if you've got clients that are numbers oriented, I can't talk today. Say it for me. Yeah, oriented. Then it's really good to know your stats and your numbers right now, because just the amount of homes that are on the market, that are sitting on the market. If we're listing things and our people aren't realizing that we've got to be ahead of the listings right now, instead of be in the middle or at the top, we need to be the best one or the cheapest one up against all the others, and know that it's not just your specific 1 mile radius. You want people could be looking in Eagle Mountain, Saratoga, and Lehigh. And then up north, same thing. You want to be looking at what you're up against and try to hit those markers. Otherwise, the longer we're staying on, the more I think our people are losing money.
Yeah, awesome.
So anyway, that's my.
Thanks for going up front. So, I mean, that was a little bit on relationships and communication, but Tyler's here to talk to us about turning unqualified leads into qualified leads. So we're constantly trying to meet new people. That's why I kind of mentioned how he met Lynn, and now he's kind of in our circle. He's back to our office a year later as an instructor instead of just a sponsor. So come on up here, Tyler. Tell us a little bit more about your background. You know, and what your business has done since we were here last time. And let's rip into it. And while you're doing that, I'm going to screen share and pull up the presentation.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, that's great. Hi, everybody on Zoom and here in person. So I do, you know, lots of you guys I don't recognize because there's some newer faces here. But I'm happy to be here and get to know you guys. Like Jeff was saying, I was in here about a year ago. So my background is in mortgages. So I'm with a company up north in South Ogden. It's called Talon Loans. And been doing that for over 3 years now with them. And also my background, which we're going to talk a little bit more about today, is I have a really big passion for personal finance. So been a student of personal finance for probably over a decade. It's just always been something that's—
So you were two? Get out of here. I'm prodigy.
Jeff just complimented my age here.
Yeah.
But anyway, seriously, like as when I was like 13, I would tune into like the Dave Ramsey show. I was a nerd, okay? So that's just what it is. So have a big background in finance, and that's kind of what pushed me into mortgages initially, and everything like that. So yeah, that's kind of my background, and we'll just jump into this. Like Jeff said, we're going to talk a little bit more about turning kind of unqualified leads, or people who are uncomfortable buying in the current market due to high prices, high interest rates, all that, and how to convert those. Okay.
So I can't find my clicker. So you're gonna have to reach up and hit the arrows to me.
Okay. No worries. No worries at all. Also, Jeff was teasing me about my PowerPoint. I'm sorry, it's all in black and white today because I didn't do any design. So sorry about that.
Straightforward, black and white. That's what we want.
Hopefully the content is good enough to not bore you. So talking about growing your business and increasing your income. Okay. I was reading a summary. Has anyone read the book, The Millionaire Real Estate Agent before? Oh, really? Okay. So I was reading online just a summary of this book, right? And there's this quote in this summary, because there's a part where I think they're talking about, leads and how they're very important in the business, right? So the summary said, remember again that you're in the business of generating leads. They form the backbone of your real estate business. You guys are doing tons of things, right? You're writing contracts, you're having consultations with buyers and sellers, you're negotiating, all of those different things that you guys do on a daily basis. But none of that happens until someone, gets in contact with you, or you get in contact with them and they say, I want to buy or sell my house and I want you to help me do it, right? None of that other stuff happens until you have a lead, right? A person who's interested in buying and selling that home. So to grow your business, we have two options, right? You can find out ways to go out and get more leads, or you can increase your lead conversion. We're going to talk about the lead conversion a little bit more in depth today, because getting more leads usually requires more of your time and more of your marketing dollars, right? Whereas increasing your lead conversion, you're still spending the same amount of marketing dollars and time to generate the leads, you're just converting a higher percentage of those leads, if that makes
Mhm.
sense. So it's a little bit more of an effective way to do it. So to illustrate this and why it's such a powerful idea, say you generate 20 leads a month. I know some of you may be generating more, maybe generating less, but it's just a nice round number, so we're gonna go with it. So if you have a 10% lead conversion ratio, that means out of those 20 leads, you're gonna end up closing 2 of those, okay? 10% is not bad, right? You know,
It's actually
10%,
really good.
yeah, that's a good number, right? If you're getting 2 closings and closing 24 deals in a year, you're making a pretty good living, right? But what if you just increase that to 15%? Now you're closing 3, okay? If you increase that to 20%, you've doubled your business. Instead of closing 2, you're closing 4. And if you even got up to 25%, which would be a very high lead conversion ratio, you're now closing 5. The same 20 leads you're getting on a monthly basis, you're just closing 5 of them instead of 2 of them. So you can more than double your business by focusing on lead conversion, right? So comparing that, right, to the other strategy of just going out and getting more leads. Say you go out and you double the amount of leads you get. So you, instead of getting 20 leads a month, you're getting 40, but you're sticking at that 10% ratio, you're going to close 4 deals, okay? Whereas if you stick with the same 20 leads and are at a 25% lead conversion ratio, you're closing 5. So it's a very effective way to be able to close more deals and grow your business than just going out there and paying for more leads or spending more time networking. You should totally be doing those things. Like they were saying, you should be calling your network and all that. I'm not saying don't go out and try to get more leads, but I am saying that if you can still bring in those leads consistently, but convert a higher percentage, then obviously your business is just going to grow exponentially. Okay. All right. So the question is, right, how do you increase your lead conversion? We're going to talk about 3 ways, and then I'm going to do a deep dive into kind of what we're going to talk about today. So the first one is evaluate your lead sources, right? I mean, for example, say you are paying for Zillow leads or Realtor.com leads or something, an online lead, okay? You have this on this side, and then you have a referral from a past client. You just help them buy a home and they refer over their sister or something. Which is the higher quality lead?
Referral.
The referral, right? It has a lot higher chance of becoming a deal that gets closed than, you know, the Zillow lead that they connect with you and never get moved in or whatever, right? So that's the first thing you can do. Evaluate the lead sources that you have and then focus on the ones that, you know, are going to give you the highest chance of closing. Like you said, the referrals is obviously the better quality lead. So that's one of the first things you can do. The second thing is, and I think you guys all know this, right? Service. If you're giving people quality service, you're going to create advocates for your business. They're going to talk to their friends and their family, which is going to increase the amount of leads you're getting in and the quality of those leads. I mean, if you just do an okay job for someone and someone asks you about, you know, their friend asks you, oh, you just bought a house, who'd you use? How was your experience? Oh, it was fine, it was okay. That person's probably not going to reach out to you compared to the person that's like, oh my goodness, working with Lynn was amazing. She was spectacular. If you're looking to buy a house, you have to use her, right? There's obviously a big difference there. So those are the 2 things. And then the third, it's my unique solution that I present today. So, hey, it's not all black and white. There's yellow.
There's some colors.
I see that.
That's the one thing everybody's gonna remember, Tyler's unique solution.
And that solution is partnering with a financial coach. Okay. So, and that's what I've kind of integrated into my business over the last year or so. Because I have a passion for personal finance, I wanted to start helping people to improve their financial situation. And just due to the market and things, it's proved, lots of people are liking and benefiting from this right now. So what is a financial coach? Maybe you've never heard of it. I just got this definition off of the internet. It's pretty generic, but it's basically, like it says here, a person who knows how to look at your finances and identify opportunities for you to better manage your money. And then instead of making the decisions for you, like saying, oh, we're going to cancel this and add this and whatever, it's more focused on teaching people the money skills so they can eventually just do it themselves, right? Certain habits, certain behaviors that they need to be financially successful, right? So a couple things, main things that I help people do is learn how to save money, increase their income, pay off bad debt, improve their credit, and eventually, because they have that strong financial base, start building wealth. Okay, those are a couple of the main things that we're focused on helping people do. So my company, it's called Real Finance. Okay, our slogan, motto, whatever you want to call it, is Real Finance for real people. Maybe some of you guys have felt this way. In the world of finance, there's a lot of financial jargon and acronyms and all these things that are really confusing to people, right? And no one ever taught you it in school. In high school, you never went through a class that taught you about taxes or whatever, right? I think I looked up the statistic about the amount of people who are financially literate in the United States. And I think it was like 60% or something like that took a test and they were financially literate. There was a couple other statistics that I should have put them in here, but the people who are living paycheck to paycheck, there's a couple of different figures, but probably the average was about 62% of people in the United States are living paycheck to paycheck. Okay, so there's a lot of people that are struggling or just need a little extra help improving their financial picture. Yes.
So I really want to talk on that because as a landlord, I see people's credit all the time, which would probably be a different type of credit than what you'd be looking at. But I see people that are living paycheck to paycheck because they're eating dog food, they're eating out, they're buying crap. It's not because they don't have the money, it's the thing they're spending their money on. Amazon is a killer. People are buying things they don't need to. Costco, killer. So anyway, I just want to mention that we feel bad about that. The people are living paycheck to paycheck, but a lot of times it's because they don't realize that they could save so much money by just changing the things that they're buying or doing. I mean, I'm totally in finance too. And I feel like people don't realize that if they took their extra money and they were putting it away and just forgetting they even had it, you can build money very, very fast that way.
Yeah, no, definitely agree. And that's the thing. It's for most people who are living paycheck to paycheck, it's a few tweaks here and there, and a big thing that we talked about, well, actually this goes into the next point here, at Real Finance, right, is that finance is two parts, right? There's the knowledge part of finance, and then there's how you behave with your money, okay? And how you behave is more important than what you know about money, okay? For example, how many of us know that getting regular exercise is good for us? How many of us actually get regular exercise? Okay, you guys are bugging. Good job.
That's why we're in real estate.
So the majority of people also don't get adequate exercise, even though we know it's good for us. Same, going along that same line, how many of us know that we should eat a balanced diet, right? And eat our vegetables and our proteins and all these things, but we don't. I mean, I for one eat too many sweets than I probably need, okay? Just because we know something is good for us doesn't mean that we're going to do that thing, if that makes sense. So a big part of Real Finance is we teach real simple financial principles to average regular people in a way that they can understand, but we focus more on changing people's behavior with money and their habits with money instead of just dumping a bunch of financial information on them and saying you need to know this. and then being so confused that they never actually take a step to put an extra dollar aside.
So how do you do that then? Because, like you said, you can't just give them the information once and they're gonna change their behavior. It is a habit forming, we just use the word habit. So is it more of a coaching program, an ongoing reoccurring connection with you guys?
Yep, exactly. So it is a coaching program. And what we basically do is like,
Sorry if I jumped ahead.
no, yeah, we'll get to it. But basically, in a nutshell, is I'll meet with people. We'll go over, look at kind of their budget and their financial goals at the same time. And we kind of look at that. And then we're focused on two things, really: habits and automation, right? Because when you automate certain things, and you can automate a lot in your finances, as far as like having certain money go to a certain bank account, or having something like in your investments automatically pulled out of your account each month. There's a lot of things you can automate, so you don't have to think about it, and your behavior is not even a factor. And then there's other things, like having the habit of reviewing your finances once a week, or at least once a month, and having the habit of tracking how much am I earning and how much am I spending, and is there anything left over. So yeah, we coach people on developing those habits over a couple of months, so that they can get those kind of ingrained, and then they become habits. And they're super simple things. That's the one big thing. Have any of you guys read Atomic Habits? Okay, awesome book. If you guys haven't read it, it's awesome, and can help you in, James Clear, he's the author. He talks about how little changes in our lives can have a huge impact. And then he gives a couple, 4 things on how to create a good habit. And one of them is to make it easy. So people don't come in and we ask them to do this lifestyle change all at once. We start out with, he says, start out with a 2-minute habit, right? For like health habit. Do like 25 push-ups before lunch or whatever. I think is one of the examples that he gives. Just to start out a habit, it has to be easy and has to take like less than 2 minutes, right? So we start out small, and then those things kind of compound. And so that's kind of the approach that we take, except more focused on people's finances. Right. So, and kind of going along that same line of thought, we just believe that you don't need a finance degree to win with money. Just having some simple knowledge, simple habits, and a little bit of automation can literally make you a millionaire over time. I'm completely convinced that anyone, literally if a person starts putting like $6,500 a year in their Roth IRA and does that for 50 years, they'll have like $3-4 million when they retire. And not that we don't only, teach people to invest in that way. Lots of people have plans to become financially free before that, and that's where the real estate comes in, and a couple other things. But the biggest focus, and really the majority of our clientele that we work with, are people that are living paycheck to paycheck, who need to improve their financial situation and set a foundation before they can even think about, buying a rental property or something like that. That without a financial foundation, someone tries to skip that step and then they're spending more than they earn, then they're not going to have that rental property for very long, right? So our big focus is mostly with people who are there, and then after they've established that foundation, introducing them to, investing in real estate and things like that. So that's a little bit about Real Finance and kind of what we do a little bit differently than other coaching programs. We really want to help people change their behavior, and we don't want them to have to, be coached forever. That's the big thing about habits, right? Is we want them to be able to come in, develop habits over a couple of months with an accountability partner, right? And then once they have that set, okay, I'm off to the races. I know what I need to do. I have the systems in place that are going to make me successfully financially. So anyways, that was a big spiel on that slide. Sorry, guys. So how does this benefit me, and how does this tie into the whole lead conversion thing that we started out with, right? How many of you guys have recently had someone who wanted to buy a house, but they didn't qualify for a mortgage? Okay. I can't see everyone on Zoom, but everyone here raised their hand. And then also another question is, how many of you have talked to people who maybe they have qualified, but they find out what their mortgage payment is? And then they say,
Holy shit.
That's what
they usually say.
exactly, right? And then they go, well, maybe it's not the right time for us right now, or housing prices are too high, that mortgage payment is too crazy, I'm gonna wait till interest rates come down a little bit. Have you guys heard of any of those recently? Okay, all of them, right? There are tons of people that I've been hearing that from, like you guys validated here. And so looking at these leads, going back to that 10% closing ratio, right? If you're getting 20 leads, and I talked to a couple people, I don't know, you guys can tell me if this is probably accurate. If you bring in 20 leads, how many are probably pre-approved on those 20 leads? I've got about 50% was probably the average.
Depends on the lead source. But
Yeah,
more.
depends on the lead source, right? For sure. But, you know, from the people that I talked to before when I made this, they said about, you know, maybe 10 of those are actually pre-approvable right now. Okay. And then if only 2 of those people who are pre-approvable by home, that means there's 8 other extra people who either didn't feel comfortable buying because they're probably because their financial situation. Let's be honest, most people who say that, it's probably because they don't want half of their paycheck going towards their housing payment, you know, and they don't want to be house poor, they want to have lifestyle. And so they say, you know, right now is not the right time. So there's 18 people here that either they didn't get approved, they don't feel like it's the right time. I guess there may be, you know, a couple of them who maybe went and decided to work with someone else. But the majority of these people, you know, either didn't qualify or just don't feel comfortable qualifying. So that's where the opportunity lies, right? Oh, wait. There you go. Is in those 2 areas, right? The people who aren't pre-approved, and the ones who decide not to buy. So that's where a financial coach like myself would come in, right? Someone calls, you talk to them, they talk to a lender, they can't get approved for a mortgage right now. Maybe their credit isn't good, their debt to income ratio is too high. Could be, I would say those are probably the 2 main, or they don't have the sufficient down payment saved up, right? Those are probably the 3 main things that would disqualify someone from getting a mortgage, right? So I come in as a financial coach and partner with you guys as realtors to help those people get into a program that's going to actually help them change their financial situation. Because have you ever had the experience of someone's like, okay, well, I'm going to work on my credit, I'll get back to you, and then you follow up a month later, 2 months later, like, oh yeah, I just haven't got around to it yet. I'm still working on it. My credit score actually went down, you know, things like that. Because lots of times they just don't have the accountability, or they just don't know how to take those next steps with their finances. Going back to, you know, most people in the United States aren't financially literate, or they're living paycheck to paycheck. And it's not their fault, you know, like I said, no one ever taught us this in school. So unless you're someone who likes to read about finance like myself, then you probably don't really know much about it. Okay. So they get into the program for, you know, depending on how severe their financial situation is, right? It could be 3 months, 6 months, a year plus, if, you know, they're in a really big financial dip, you could say. But how much would an extra 1, 3, or 5 closings a year make you as a realtor, right? Even if, you know, you send over 10 people, 1 of them signs up for the program, 6 months, they're ready to buy a home. I'm like, all right, you're ready to buy a home. That's where kind of my background in mortgages comes in. I know kind of all the ratios that they're going to need to do that. I say, you're ready to get back in touch with Jeff or Lynn or whoever and say, and you can buy a house now. And they come back to you, and you guys obviously help them through the whole home buying process. And that's an extra closing for the year that you probably wouldn't have had. If someone hadn't helped them out with those finances.
Question for you on that. So let's say Shaw sent to some people he's been working with, that kind of need some financial help.
Yeah.
6 months goes by, it's a long time. Shaw's checking in with them once in a while. Do you just say, hey, you're good to go now, reach back out to Shaw, or is part of your process also then to reconnect with Shaw and say, hey, John, you sent me is good to go, and give him an update so he has a talking point to reach out? Is that part of it?
No, yeah, that's definitely part of it. Obviously, when we get a referral, we track where that referral came from and everything. And even part of the coaching, we're constantly talking about, if Shaw sent someone over, hey, Shaw connected us, we're gonna help you with your finance, whatever, and help you get a proof of mortgage proof of mortgage and be able to buy a house, and we're gonna get you connected with Shaw. We keep Shaw at the top of their mind as well. We're not gonna go refer them to just another realtor or mortgage company or whatever. I would definitely, it's more of a partnership with you guys as realtors too. And during the process, I would be calling Shaw and saying, hey, these clients you sent over, they're making some awesome progress. Their credit score just went up 50 points. They're about, $5,000 more away from having the down payment they need. And that's going to take them another 2-3 months, and then they're going to have it. And then you should be able to help these people get into a home. So good question. Thanks for that. Anyways, going back to this question. So on Redfin a couple weeks ago, I looked up the median home price in Utah. It was like 532,000. So a more round number, let's just say 500,000. If you're making 3%, on the buy or sell, that turns out to be what, $15,000. Okay, obviously I know there's other broker fees and things like that come out, but just for simplicity's sake, one extra year adds $15,000 to your income. That's the difference between $60,000 and $75,000, right? If you had 2 people that's an extra $30,000. So you can see how just an extra closing or 2, 3, and the biggest thing, right, is getting the first people going in the program, right? It might take 3-6 months to see the fruits of that first one, but if you consistently do that, that could potentially turn into an extra closing every month, right? Or every 2 months. So now say you're getting an extra 8 closings a year. I don't know.
I think of it this way too, guys. It's like, it's a funnel, right? And so you've got to invest in that at the beginning. You've got to get your lead source and you've got to add them to the funnel. So look at it, just the example of 1 closing in the year, that's over let's just call it $1,000 a month marketing budget that can either reimburse you for your efforts for generating these leads and putting them in the funnel, or I mean, imagine if you had an unlimited marketing budget that was just replenished by, the minimal conversion rate that paid for your marketing budget. So you're not out of pocket. And then if you get the conversions up to 2, 3, 4, 5, that's where the profit comes in. But even just getting to a break even so that you're out there and you're putting in that market is a simple way to look at it. To just create that marketing budget by helping 1 person this year through 1 lead source, adding them to this funnel. And now there's other lead sources like we mentioned, but this is just 1, right? And so then it's kind of like set it on autopilot.
Yeah, for sure. And thanks for bringing up that perspective. I hadn't even considered that. And so, yeah, you can also think of it kind of like that as an investment, say, and the great thing about this whole thing, let's just go to the next slide. How does this benefit me? You increase your income. You devoted 0 extra marketing dollars and basically 0 time. I mean, you have the time of maybe connecting, them to me, right? Which may take 10 or 15 minutes. It's a simple text or a simple phone call. And then that person comes back, goes from an unqualified person who maybe you wouldn't have been able to help to, 6 months down the road. It's almost like getting a free, a super qualified person who's ready to buy right now, and you get them under contract on the house, and it's pretty easy. So you've increased your income without devoting much more time or money towards that. It doesn't cost you anything other than maybe a 5-minute text over to me, right? And then number two, the way this can benefit you is you increase client loyalty and create advocates for your business. There's a difference between, like, people can tell how much effort you put into helping them, right? And obviously you need to be focusing on the people who can buy and sell right now, right? So lots of times when people can't qualify or whatever, we put them on the back burner, or, you know, we kind of keep them on our list and check up every couple of months. But, you know, lots of times, like I said, they're not making the progress individually or anything like that. But if you can, when someone calls you and they can't qualify, instead of saying, you can't qualify right now, you know, here's a couple things you might be able to do, and then maybe let's talk later, compared to, hey, John, you can't qualify right now, but I actually know a person who helps people get qualified and I think that he could really help you out, and this could be a good thing for you. I really want to help you get into a home, and I think this could be the best way to do it. Would you be open to learning a little bit more about this avenue? And all of a sudden that person says, okay, they get in the program, they come. That person, once they buy a house, the next time they're talking to their friends, they're like, how was your experience? They're like, you know what, it was amazing. I talked to a couple of different realtors and I wasn't qualified. They kind of kicked me to the curb, but Jeff took the time and he connected me with a financial coach who helped me get my finances in order. And he's really helped me out to be able to get to he didn't just kick me to the curb. He took the time to help me get to a point where I could qualify, and then help me get into a home. Without Jeff, I couldn't have gotten into this home. He's awesome. You have really strong loyalty because and advocates for your business because of the effort you put into helping them. And people can tell and read that. Kind of going along that same line of thought, you become known as a problem solver as well. You know, people come and they say, hey, you know, my friends told me that they were in a pretty dire financial situation, but you were able to get them qualified into a home. Like, how'd you do that? And once you become known as a problem solver in the community, that in itself becomes a lead generation source, just because people know that you're not just looking for people who can buy right now, but you're willing to help others who might not be in that situation right now. So the 80-20 rule, has anyone ever heard the 80-20 rule? Probably. You should focus on the 20% of things that give you 80% of the results. That this program can help you do that. You guys can stay focused on helping the people that can buy right now or in the next month or two, and focusing on those 20%. And then you allow us as a financial coach to focus on them 100%. And so you guys kind of keep your focus where it needs to be. It's not taking any more time to focus on maybe, you know, someone who doesn't qualify, but you're taking all the time to try to educate them and everything like that. So hopefully that made sense. I don't think I explained that super well. And then number 5, we just get to help more people, right? We get to help more people become financially literate. We get to help more people start building wealth by getting into real estate, owning a piece of real estate. Doing that could change someone's financial outlook literally for the rest of their life. I was watching a thing the other day that it was a tax guy and his wealthiest clients. It said 90% of his wealthiest clients owning real estate was part of their portfolio or whatever, right? And yeah, it was like 99%. And so we get to help them create that foundation and then be able to get their foot in the door to building wealth over the long term by owning real estate. So those are a couple of the benefits that I thought of that this might be able to help you out. So here's a couple ideas of how you can go out and implement this today with your clients. Okay, think of clients in the last maybe 3 months that you talked to who haven't qualified or decided to wait because of their financial situation, and be a hero, right? It gives you a point to reach out to people and connect with them again, maybe that you haven't talked to. This is just a little script you could use, I guess, that I put together. Hey, John, I've been thinking of you ever since we found out you couldn't qualify for a home. I really want to help you achieve this dream. Turns out I just discovered how we can get you qualified and into a home. I wanted to call you right away and see if you'd be interested in learning more. And if they're like, yeah, that sounds like something, then you talk about, I have a guy who's a financial coach. You can talk to him for 15 minutes and see if this would be a good fit. That's really all it is. If they decide to do it or not, enroll in financial coaching, it doesn't matter because you've created a point where you've been able to follow up with them and they see that you're trying to help them out, right? So they can see that you care. So it's kind of a good way to talk to people that you maybe haven't talked to in the last couple months. Like I said before, every time a person doesn't qualify, give them a solution instead of just bad news, right? Instead of saying, hey, you can't qualify, we can't help you at this time. Hey, same thing as this above. Hey, you can't qualify right now, but I really want to help you be able to do this and get into a home. I think it's really important. And I actually know a guy who specializes in helping people get to the point where they can't qualify. Would you be interested in talking to him for 10 minutes and seeing if he might be able to help you out? Super simple, but that when you're talking to a client, and they get the news of you can't qualify for a house right now, that kind of hurts, right? They're kind of like, dang it, I really, when people want to go and decide to go into the home, they get excited about that. You guys know it. They're excited. They're like, I want to be a homeowner. I want to stop renting and, all these things. They get excited. So to kind of get that news of you can't qualify, you don't want to leave them with, like, that's going to be their impression of you for the next, little bit of, they didn't, it's not because you didn't do a good job. You for sure need to communicate that to them, but it doesn't leave that bad taste in their mouth of, I wanted to buy a home, but I couldn't, you know what I mean? And so instead of doing that, you turn that around and you can't qualify right now, but we can get you to the point where you can. If they're interested, this is just a simple way. Just put us in a group text together. If they say, hey, yeah, I'm totally open to chatting with your contact, send me just create a group message with them, me and you, and say, hey, Tyler, meet John. John wants to buy a home but can't qualify right now. He's interested in seeing if you might be able to help him get to the point where he can qualify. When will we have time to talk to him? And we'll get in contact from there. And we do just like a quick discovery call with people, right? To just tell them, see what their situation is, and everything like that. And it's like 10-15 minutes. So they're out maybe 10-15 minutes, whether they decide to do it or not. So those are just a couple ways you could implement this starting today. Here's a couple of frequently asked questions. Do you only work with new home buyers? I don't work just exclusively with new home buyers. Yeah, you have a family member, friend, anyone like that you talk to and they might be struggling financially. Would love to chat with them. I'm here to just help as many people as I can. So second thing, what does this cost the client? So like I said, we do like a free discovery call. Normally we do about $250 a month, but for all of our referral partners, we actually reduce that down to $150 a month for our program. So they get $100 off every single month. Lots of financial coaching programs will sign you into a contract for like 6 months or something like that. We don't do that. I'm happy to continue coaching people as long as they're getting value, right? But as soon as I feel like they're to a point where they don't need it, I'm not just going to keep charging them $150 a month to come chat with me. You know what I mean? So, and what that includes is we do a really comprehensive 1-hour meeting every single month with the client where we talk about their finances. We do a couple follow-up calls throughout the month too, just to see, hey, did you have your you look at your budget this week? Did you have your financial planning session with your significant other or whatever? We keep in touch with them throughout the week. And then we have a lot of like supplementary videos and things that they actually, it's almost kind of like homework. They have a video that walks them through how to do certain things, and then they do the homework. And then once they complete that, when we come into the next meeting, that kind of preps us to go over the next steps, right? So that's kind of what's included in that. Yeah, like I said, there's no contracts that they have to stay on for a certain amount of months or anything like that. As long as they're getting value, we're happy to help them, but I'm not going to lock them into any long-term commitments, I guess. I think that's just the best way to do business. Couple other things that I didn't put in here that I just thought of. What's the difference between me as a financial coach and like a financial advisor? I get that question a lot from clients. So financial advisors usually help people. They help people build wealth that they've already created, right? Whereas we're focused more on helping people set the foundation to start building that wealth. So we don't manage any investments or anything, accounts for people. We're not a financial institution in that way. It's more helping people, basically taking a person who may be living paycheck to paycheck, has bad credit, is maybe burdened with debt, isn't saving any money every month, taking that kind of person to someone who has good credit, who's not living paycheck to paycheck, meaning they have more left over than what they're earning. They're putting away a certain amount every single month, so that they can then start to take those next wealth building steps, if that makes sense. So that's kind of the difference. Some people have told me, well, I think my loan officer does this with my clients. Why do they need this? No, they don't. Your loan officers do not take the time to sit down and do a budget with people. I'm a loan officer, and I know, I've worked in an office with lots of loan officers. Not that they don't want to, but they're also kind of focused on the 80-20 rule, right? They're focused on those people that can buy right now. In fact, I partner up with loan officers as well as realtors, because they're seeing people as well they want to help people, but they got to focus on the activities that are giving them the results now. So that's sometimes something that comes up, but so they're definitely not going to go in depth and take the amount of time that we're 100% focused on today. I guess those are a couple of frequently asked questions. Does anyone have any other questions, whether you're on Zoom or here, that you might have questions about any of this?
Just unmute yourself if you want to chime in.
Oh, yeah.
So tell us, while they're thinking about that, tell us kind of like, what does that first initial consultation look like for somebody that we might send that says, hey, I want to at least look into that 15-minute phone call? What are some of the things you go over in that?
Yeah, for sure. So a couple of things we go over, just kind of getting to know them, right? And the reason that they're reaching out, and then we kind of go into, what are like their goals, what are they trying to accomplish with their finances? So say someone reaches out that you referred over, right? And they're like, yeah, Jeff referred me over to you. Awesome. I kind of get to know the client a little bit, and we talk about, what are you trying to accomplish financially? And they say, well, I was hoping to get into a house. I wasn't able to qualify for that. Okay, awesome. And we kind of get an idea of their financial picture as well. Just basic financial picture. And then, we kind of go over the program, the costs and everything like that, and see if that's something that they're interested in doing right now.
So from their standpoint, are you like kind of trying to find out where they're spending their money in that first consultation, where they can like maybe reallocate some of their expenses to get further ahead? Are you pulling credits right away, or are they having to sign up for the program before you go that far?
Yeah, so we try to get like a general idea of it. But the very first, usually meeting, if they decide to sign up, we'll send them actually, there's a video and everything, and there's a template and some things that we send them beforehand that shows them how to create a budget. And they go back and they look at their spending the last 2 or 3 months, and they send that to me. Mm-hmm. And so I'm able to look at their budget for the last 2 or 3 months, because we got to see where they're at before we can tell them, okay, you need to do this. Super helpful. So they do that, and they also have to write a 10-year plan for us. That goes over mostly finances, but even just things like family and career-wise, just kind of a 10-year plan. And then we like to reverse engineer that to create a 5-year, 3-year, and 1-year plan. So that way we can kind of understand where they're at, where they want to be. And then that helps us in that first consultation get to the point where we can kind of start advising them.
Awesome. No, that thanks for this.
Right up here, here's my contact information. I put my name and our website. If you scan that QR code, it will actually take you, and you can actually add my contact right to your phone. And it will save it there. So that's probably the easiest. And that has my name, phone number, my email, our website, everything like that. So that's probably the easiest if you want to save this into your phone. It also has a really nice picture of my face. So, so if you want to save that to your phone, that's probably the easiest way, where you can input my number manually. But like I said, if you have any, maybe look at the last 3 months of people who may not felt comfortable or maybe didn't qualify, reach out, make it a touch point with your clients and see if it's something that they might help out. Like I said, that free discovery call, it's no questions asked. They're just, if they go into it and they're like, yeah, I don't want to do this, no problem. Like I said, they're at least gonna be appreciative that you provided the solution, that you were demonstrating that you cared. So I think that wraps it up for me. Hopefully I didn't go over.
Okay, no, stay up here. Hey,
Okay.
5 more seconds on the QR code. You guys on Zoom, take a screenshot of that. I'm gonna stop the screen share for a second. So grab that before I shut her down. 3, 2, 1. Okay, oh, I wanted to share this up here. Give me 1 second. Okay, I wanted, anybody have any questions while I'm doing this? I got a couple of comments and a little bit of conversation I want to have with you guys around this.
After the initial consult, maybe the first one, do you have a good idea and say like, you know, I think we can get you to where you want to be in like 6 months, or do you kind of give them a time frame?
Yeah, so usually after that first meeting, I mean, we'll have seen their budget, their 10-year plan, everything like that. And we'll have a like really good idea of like what they're spending their money on, because we're literally, we have them go through and basically look at bank statements and put every single thing they put on there. So we can basically look at that, and then we kind of go in there and talk to people about, okay, maybe you're, like Lynn was saying, the biggest things that people spend money on, probably the top 3 things. Obviously housing is a big one, which we can't control too much, but I mean, they could house hack or something like that, right? Transportation and food. Those are the 3 biggest expenses. And I actually, there's a study that the government does, you know, the census, where it kind of tracks all that. And those are the 3 biggest categories. It's amazing how much of people's food bill is spent on eating out and how much is spent on a really fancy car or something. In mortgages, I've seen people with literally a guy who was making like $50,000 a year. He had someone co-sign with him, like a family member. He had like $1,000 a month car payment for like a Corvette or something like that. It's so those are usually we have a really good idea. And also one of the biggest things, and I forgot to mention this to you guys, because it's $150 a month. Lots of people are like, okay, if I'm living paycheck to paycheck, how can I afford that? If after our first meeting, we can't show you how to save at least $150 a month to cover the cost of the coaching, I'll consider coaching you for free, because that's how confident I am that we'll find something. And I've never had anyone.
Well, that was worth mentioning in the.
Yeah, sorry. I meant
Let that slide.
you. So yeah, if you can't show them how to save at least $150, I'll consider coaching them for free. Because of, you know, if they're in that dire of a circumstance, then, you know, I'm just gonna try to help them. So
Awesome. Kitty has a question there about the credit repair.
oh. So yes, we do kind of, we're not a credit repair agency. So we don't do anything, you know, while I was in mortgages, I used to have some credit repair agencies. So we're not a credit repair agency. However, we do teach about credit, and there's things that the credit bureaus have put out that talk about, you know, credit, all the things that impact your credit score, credit utilization, how much credit you have, what types of different credit you have, all of these things that has a certain percentage of how that impacts your credit score. So we share that with the client, and usually and we can look at their current credit and what they're using and everything, and use those. And so yes, we do help people improve their credit, but I technically can't market myself as a credit repair agency. So we do help them do that. just using what the information that the credit bureaus have put out. And there's tons of like people online that talk about that as well. But yeah, so we use that to help people repair their credit, but we're not marketing ourselves as a credit repair agency, if that makes sense.
And Kitty, if that's an immediate need for people, we've got other resources, reach out to me. I've got credit restoration companies, people that actually do work with them on specifically increasing their credit scoring and getting that ready. So there are a couple things that as he's going through this that I was thinking of. I mentioned the funnel and the pipeline, and so Kitty, Victoria, Chase, Nate, Eric, I know Eric, you're super busy, but we all are constantly trying to keep the pipeline going, right? We don't want to give so much attention to those people that we're working with that once that dries up, we close those, we're starting over. And then we're up and we're down, we're up and then down, we're constant feeding. So a couple of thoughts along this is targeting people that are in the situation like what would be a first-time home buyer class. A lot of people think, oh, I'll teach a first-time home buyer class. But the amount of people that say, hey, I'm ready to buy a home, I'm going to go to this first-time home buyer class. You're eliminating some of these people that he's talking about that already in their mind don't think I can buy a home. You know, my credit isn't very good. That's not for me yet. So it's the preliminary touch before the first-time home buyer class to introduce them to somebody like Tyler. So where would you get a list of people like that? Right? They're the people that are renting, right? Go to your title company. They will literally do a search and they can print you a list in a geographical area that you want to farm of all of the non-owner occupied homes. Meaning the owner of record does not live in that property. That's a tenant. Apartment complexes, things that you know somebody's in there. So by approaching somebody a little different than a first-time homebuyer class on, hey, financial stability or financial responsibility, putting them on a coaching plan, something like that, which is, would you be interested in a free consultation? Super easy. So when I ask people about their pipeline and say, it's pretty dried up right now, it's because they're not doing anything purposeful to feed that pipeline. And we can have multiple pipelines at once, right? 5, 6, 7 different lead sources, whatever. This is just one. This is just one lead source. It's like, well, when somebody says, what are you doing to increase your business? You should be able to say, well, I reach out to people that are maybe not taught financially in their youth or whatever, and they haven't created any habits. And so we offer my coaching program. Being a very specific with the answer, this is what I do. This is my audience. This is how I reach out to them. And then you're creating that funnel, just keep feeding them through, right? So I see that as a huge opportunity working with somebody like that. The other thing I thought of is that's pretty cheap. $150 a month, maybe not to the person that's in the situation where they need the coaching until they kind of like what you just said, hey, if I can't save you as much as the coaching, which means then anything else from there is profit or working towards your financial stability, I'll consider coaching you free. That's one really great sales pitch. Take the 15 minutes, right? The other thing I thought of as agents, let's just be honest, we make a ridiculous amount of money for a closed transaction. We really do for a closed transaction. It's all the stuff that comes before that though. What are we doing? And that's where the time and the investment comes in. But what if, and this isn't against the rules or anything, by offering somebody an incentive to close with you, what if you were offering to these people, hey, if you stick with this for 6 months and we get you ready to buy a house, when you close a house using me as your realtor, I will credit you back that $900 that you just spent on coaching to get you ready out of the closing. Out of an event that hasn't happened yet, the revenue that's coming is going to come from an event that hasn't happened yet, which is their goal, hopefully. And so out of that $10,000 or $15,000 commission, would it be worth your while to reimburse some of that back to that client that for something that helped get them ready to buy in the first place? Something to think about, something to think, those just talking points, right? This is what I do. Here's my program. I'm going to hook you up with the coach. There's a little bit of expense involved. He's going to try and save you more money than it costs you. And when you buy your home with me, whatever you do spend, I'm going to reimburse you up to 6 months. It's a pretty good talking point. So anyway, I just kind of want to throw that out there. I don't know if anybody that's online has any comments or addition to that before we hang up, but I think yeah, nobody really has an excuse for not having a pipeline constantly full of people, because this is just one lead source we've talked about today.
I think if those people get to that point, I mean, how excited are they going to be that they got out of their situation? All of a sudden they have more cash in their pocket. they're gonna be talking about to their friends. It seems like a really good additional referrals. I mean, they're gonna be excited to work with Tyler, and then, you know, the service we provide as a agent and all that. I just see tremendous.
They don't even have to think about
Yeah.
being the advocate for what happened, because their friends are in the same situation
Yeah.
they're in. That's why they're friends. And their friends are gonna be going, what did you do that you're buying a house in this shitty economy, blah, blah, blah. Oh, well, I just, you know, I talked to Jamie, he hooked me up with somebody that was like 4 months ago, and now I'm buying a house. The people are gonna ask them. And that's a really good point too, because we're talking about lead generation, lead conversion, but all that's another pipeline, because they better end up in your SOI. That's a compounding effect every single year that your business is coming from previous business or people that they know, to where you get like Lynn and I, where we don't even do lead generation because we keep really busy by people just picking up the phone and calling us from previous business years that we help their family, and it becomes a relationship thing at that point, but you got to start somewhere. You know, Victoria's a brand new agent. She's the newest one on our team. I got to spend some time with her down in Las Vegas. It was super awesome. But that's the biggest question when you're brand new. How do I get started? What do I do? It's this kind of stuff. You pick something and you run with it. Nate, I see your hands up. What you got, buddy?
How about Oregon?
Can't hear you very well. Say again.
How about Oregon?
Oh, Oregon. He's asking me, he's in Oregon. Do you do like coaching? Is it geographical, or can you help people in Oregon?
So I can help people in all 50 states. So it's not, there's no things that restrict me from just working in Utah. And actually we do basically 100% of our coaching like virtual anyways. And so we just hop on a Zoom call. With technology, it's so easy these days to get connected with people in other states and still coach and share the resources that we have. We have it all kind of on the shared drive thing that we share with people. So yeah, if you're in Oregon, shouldn't be a problem. Still happy to help if there's people over there.
Awesome. Did you grab his contact info, Nate?
I'll get it.
I have a comment to go with that too, like if you're thinking about touching your sphere of influence or your past clients or anything like that, it's also a good reason to call them and just be like, hey, we're offering this service. Do you know anybody? It's like it's a very, not just asking for a referral, but it's asking if you know anyone who needs help. You know, beyond just the business deal. So I think it's a good opportunity to reach out to your own sphere and just, you know, say, hey, we're helping people. Do you know anybody?
Yeah, well, and especially right now, there's so much talk right now in news, the recession and all the stuff, interest rates and interest rate hikes. Lots of people are scared right now, especially with their finances. We're getting to the point, you know, inflation's super high. Personally, I think we're almost at the peak of that, but I guess we'll see. Time will only tell.
Yeah.
But people are scared and they're looking for resources and things right now. So like you said, you know, reaching out and just saying, hey, is there anyone that you know that might, you know, be struggling right now that this could be helpful for? There's a lot of fear right now, I think, just surrounding recession and the housing market and everything that, you know, this can help satisfy. So
I love that you brought that up, because we're always looking for talking points with the people we already know that really aren't about them. It's really not, but think how surprised you might be if you called somebody and say, hey, just had a great class, just made a great financial coach. Another way that we can better serve our clients. So if you know anybody in this situation that might be able to benefit from it, you might be surprised if they say, me.
Yeah. Yep.
Right? And you're not literally calling, it's like, I know you're having a tough time, you don't know how to budget your money and this, and you're not pointing the finger at them, but you're saying, I've got solutions for people. Do you know anybody like that? So I love that. I mean, that alone can keep you busy, you know, a couple hours a day if you just ran with this one lead source. So I appreciate your time, Tyler. It was all really good information. If you guys don't have anything on Zoom, we're going to cut you loose, let you get about your day. Other than that, reach out if I can do anything for you. And they've already left. No, I'm kidding. All right, see you guys.
Thanks,
Eric,
Tyler.
just gonna prove I'm still there. I wasn't frozen. Hey,
You
buddy.
weren't
All
frozen.
right. All right, love you guys. See you.
Thanks.
Okay, bye.